you looked at, say, 15 years forward, what do you think will be the big apologetic issues that will face these young people in the room?
I think that neuroscience and neurotheology is emerging as one of the cutting-edge areas that we need to be prepared to address. There is a great deal of discussion today as to whether or not belief in God is hardwired into the human brain, and what theological significance that would have if that's true. Issues of free will and mind-body relations, trying to explain consciousness and mental causation. I think the whole realm of developing neuroscience and its implications for theology will be a new frontier.
Maybe unpack that a little bit, in what areas might
Well,
that throw
for
up new
example, this
challenges
question
for
of
us?
whether or not belief in God is hardwired into the human brain. Some people think that there is what's called a hyperactive agency detection device in the human brain, whereby we personalize things by attributing agency to them. We talk to our houseplants. We curse at our computer when it doesn't work. If something goes wrong, we say, "You stupid thingamajig." The claim is that we have this built-in tendency to ascribe agency to things, and the reason is, it says, is it has survival value if you do this, and so evolution has built this into us. And so the idea behind this has been, theologically, that God is a sort of projection of this hyperactive agency detection device. You look at the cosmos and things that are happening in it, and you personalize this and ascribe it to God. Now, the funny thing is that that's not necessarily inimical to theism. Alvin Plantinga has developed a religious epistemology according to which God has given us cognitive faculties which naturally form belief in his existence when they're functioning properly. So in one sense, Plantinga would be very happy to say that such a device is hardwired into our brain. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. What are the theological implications of this, if it's true, and is it even true? And then, as I said as well, questions of the relationship between the mind and the brain. Reductive materialism is pretty much out of fashion now today. The idea that mental states just are states of the brain is now widely rejected by philosophers. So this reductive, simplistic materialism doesn't work anymore. Why? Well, because mental properties are not identical with physical properties. The brain has physical properties like a certain weight, a certain density, a certain location. But the brain isn't jubilant or sad. Those are mental properties that the mind possesses. And so this kind of reductive materialism won't work. So some will respond with a kind of non-reductive materialism, according to which the brain has mental properties as well as physical properties. And these mental states are a sort of epiphenomenon. They are sort of a ghostly mental excrescence of the brain, as it were. But on this view, the only causation that is going on is from physical states to physical states, prior brain states to later brain states, and from brain states to mental states. But the mental states are causally impotent. They don't do anything to impact the brain. So this view of the self and the mind-body problem is incompatible with personal identity over time, with freedom of the will, with mental causation, and perhaps even with intentionality, being able to think about things. So many contemporary philosophers are arguing that the best view of the mind and the body is that these are two integrated substances. There is a kind of mind-body dualism according to which brain and mind interact. There's interactive dualism. Well, that raises all kinds of theological issues, because that sort of immaterial spiritual substance fits a lot more easily into a theistic view of the world than into a naturalistic, atheistic view of the world. And so some atheists have said we can't solve the problem of the mind and the body. We can't explain the nature of consciousness, but because they reject theism, they simply won't accept dualism, interactionism. So these are the kinds of debates that I think will continue to grow in intensity and importance. And there will be experimental brain science results that will have impact upon these sorts of issues.